house is going to need too much work. You need to have it like 25,000. I went back to the seller and I was like, well, I said, we need to be around 25. And he said, that's too low. I want to cancel the contract. Next day, he said, hey, Nick, I really like you. You're a good guy. I want to sell the house for 25,000.
No one knows your true financial potential. So it makes no sense to place limits on it, right? That just comes from self-doubt. That just comes from maybe not having the right model to follow. And I'm just telling you from experience, if you have the right model and the right community, that is step number one to getting to your first deal. And on this podcast, I've got an incredible wholesaler out of Lafayette, Louisiana, that works shift work. 3 days on, a couple days off, 4 days on, a few days off. Like, there's a lot of people listening and watching this that have either experienced shift work themselves or are currently going through shift work. And we're going to pick it apart and see how he's able to do. He's done 10 deals now. And he really was introduced to the world of real estate investing a couple years ago by being really smart when he's driving out to the factory that he works at in Louisiana, that he was listening and putting really, really good information and instruction into his brain in the form of the Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad, the Cash Flow Quadrant book, and of course the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. But he decided, you know what? Nobody is going to tell me what my financial potential is. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to see what my financial potential is. I'm going to go out there and take massive action. And it is my pleasure to introduce Nick Petrie to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Nick, how's it going?
Good, man.
Welcome.
How's it going, Brent? Thank you for having me on the show. It's always been my hopes and dreams to be on the show. I would listen to it every morning, and I'd always tell myself, one day I'm going to get there.
Well, here you are. And listen, you posted in December 3 checks that you closed in 2 weeks, which was phenomenal. And we'll get into all of that because you've got a couple different strategies that you implement to do deals that aren't even in your market or properties that you haven't even seen. So we'll definitely get into that. But how do you balance this, Nick? How do you balance between shift work and keeping your goals and your dreams and really staying focused on the model of building your business? How do you balance these things?
It's it is something to balance, but I love it. I'm obsessed with it as far as having a good mindset on the future, and just sticking to the plan. Like you said, being consistent, being proactive, taking action. A little bit every day helps out. Even if I'm going to work, well, I can still drive for dollars. I can still make phone calls. And I remember one time you said, like this one guy was busy. He might have been like a truck driver. He said, man, how do we do? He said, man, you told him, just make 5 calls a day. Just take some action. And that's all it takes. It just takes one phone call sometime. But how I personally do it, so I work shift work. It's either 3 days a week or 4 days a week. And on my time off, I do my real estate business, my wholesaling business. And I try to plan for it, set my appointments, and go on appointments from there. I enjoy cold calling. I love talking to people. I tried texting. Yep, I tried texting before, man. It just wasn't for me. I couldn't get the same response, and I found more people were frustrated with texting than on the phone. If I could get some on the phone, most of the time people are pleasant to talk to,
100%. Yep.
Yep, so I do some cold calling, and I have a VA that works for me. So she runs my dollar for me also while I'm at work. So that helps. But in turn, the bottom line is, cold calling.
Your VA, what does your VA do on a daily basis?
So what
if anybody's unfamiliar with that term, a VA is a virtual assistant. Just if anybody just didn't know what that is, but what do they do on a daily basis there, Nick?
Okay, so what she does, she works for me full time. I used call tools for a while. I'm in the process of swapping over to Mojo. She hops on my dialer, she clocks on, she texts me, "Hey, I'm starting my shift." She works 8 hours a day for me. So she'll grind and call, and she'll send me leads throughout the day. And sometimes when I get my breaks, I like the lead. I'll turn around and call them up. You know, sometimes it's 3 or 4. I'll give them a ring and I'll book my appointments. And I mean, sometimes I will book appointments on my way back from work, which is 12 hours, and I'll still go on an appointment. Um, I'll show up in uniform and everything, and just ready to look at some real estate. But yeah, that's kind of my strategy. It's pretty simple. I don't have a whole bunch of different strategies. I'll send some direct mail. I don't do any like Facebook marketing, strictly cold calling. And a big factor that we like to use is Deal Machine, driving for dollars. Um, Big time. There's nothing like just going down a neighborhood, man, and just picking up properties that you see, tall grass, boarded up windows, and I just lock them on. Recently, Brent, like I was telling you, we had a investor meetup with Pace Morby, and I got to network with other guys. And, I got to tell them, say, "Hey, look, I'm in TTP program. I'm in Brent Daniels program too." So I had a celebrity with us, and I was telling other investors, "Hey, well, I'm in a program too, right?" So, but I was telling them about the Deal Machine, and it just blew their mind. They're like, "Wow, man, you could do that. You could click on a prompt." Yeah. So that was pretty cool, and it feels good, man, to help people learn also. Um, so like a motto that you've been pushing, and I was really impressed about one of your recent podcasts you done was recommending the books, The Go Giver, and I think another one's like a spiritual book as far as that could open up doors in your life. I've seen that before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I love it. So what, Nick,
yeah,
so what is the plan here? What is the plan to not have to work shifts? When do you
man, the
know when
plan
it's the
is
right time to go full time?
man, my personal plan is I'm going to keep grinding wholesaling. I want to build up my bank account. I'm personally going to buy rentals. I may take on some rentals because way back when I do have a background with some construction and project management as far as handling on houses being remodeled. Um, so it's to build a portfolio, man. Keep on going. I look at the ugly houses. I love them because I could turn around if I buy one. I could basically remodel it. I could put new plumbing. I could put new electrical, new roof. So once you have some of the core things in a house updated, the property value just goes up a lot. It's a big difference. So we're able to create equity by doing this, by finding deals at a discount, sourcing deals. So that's my big goal, and maybe one day I could break free, man. I think I could do it, and I'm just gonna keep, working at it.
Yeah, I know that you can do it. And I would challenge you this. I would make sure, just going through the 5 stages, the model that we follow. Number one is, obviously get a community of people doing this, which we've
Right.
mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's absolutely critical. Number 2 is doing your first deal. Number 3, building that consistency. And that's when you fire your boss and you can
Right.
do it full time. Number 4 is build a 7-figure business that runs mostly by other people. And then, Nick, this is where I challenge you. Then you buy the rentals.
Okay.
Then you get into the properties. Then you cherry pick the absolute best deals. Because what I see time and time and time again is people want to jump into the rental portfolio model, which is a different model than building a 7-figure wholesaling business model. And then all of a sudden, you're all over the place. You're distracted,
Yeah.
right? And then
Right.
and
Right.
then all of a sudden your cash machine isn't fully formed. It's not fully developed. You don't have yourself replaced in that first, and and then then you have to keep sliding back a little bit into, oh, okay, well, I got to do most of the work myself. And I see this all the time, especially when the market shifted, when
Right.
people, had other people doing the calls for them and going on the appointments and selling their deals. All of a sudden, people slid back over the last 6-8 months because they were too distracted with other things and they didn't have their systems in place. So I
Right.
challenge you, one, let's replace your income as soon as
Sure.
possible. You're already on your way there. You're doing a great job. You're starting to do bigger deals, because that is one of the challenges and one of the bottlenecks in your business is the price of properties in your area doesn't
Right.
lend itself to the big, huge, the huge deals, the huge, income, huge
Assignments.
income, the huge amount of income that you can make per deal.
Right.
But you can replace your income first, go full time. And I'm telling you, Nick, once you go full time, I think that people will follow you. I think that you could be a real leader in your market and find really good talent to come in and run your business and then buy the absolute best properties because you're already finding them. What do you
Right.
think?
Exactly. I agree with you, Brent. And yeah, I could see that being sidetracked too. If it's kind of like the last property I had worked on, it sidetracked me at times, and I'm like, dang man, I got to work on my wholesale middle. So yeah, I could definitely see that. Um, but yeah, that's the plan, man. I just want to keep on expanding wholesaling. I might expand into other markets that's close by to where we just connect. Um, Not to go out of state, just to master the state I'm in. And building deep connections that goes a long ways because I could, like some of my properties does require a lot of work, so I have certain cash buyers that I could call on, and I can count on them to pretty much buy them. Others won't bat an eye at it, man. They say, man, that's some rough properties, but hey, I'm finding them, I'm locking them up. People gotta bring them back to life, right? There's a shortage of rentals out there, so it's networking, man, and just trying to grow.
I love it. Tell me about how you're able to help other wholesalers in your area and JV, joint venture with them to get the deal done. Do they just not have buyers? Do they just not know how to sell these deals? You've been doing some great work with joint ventures that you didn't even source the original deal, but you helped other people get the deal across the finish line. So talk to us about that.
Right, so that's a great question, Brent. So when I started out, I did acquisitions. I just stayed hunting, and I squatted up with a local wholesaler, man, and he did dispositions because he'd been doing it a while. He had a big buyers list, and I would send him my deals, and he would split with me fairly, 50-50. And then after a while, I was like, I got to build up my cash buyers list. I got to really do it. And actually joining your program, I remember talking to Alejandra, and she's like, "Hey Nick, you're gonna build up your cash buyers list." I said, "You got it. I'm on it." So I went literally like from, I don't know, it might have been like 50. Now I'm at 180 something cash buyers on my list. So that's pretty huge. And another thing too is, of course, the relationships. Like I was saying earlier, if you got good relationships with them, they're going to go look at the properties. They're going to go check them out. But going back to the question, so I JV with other wholesales because they're kind of like starting off like I did, right? They don't have a cash buyers list. So what I did this time, going in a little harder, is building a bigger dispositions. So I focused on my weakness, which was getting more cash buyers, and then from there I'm able to help other wholesalers as well. I met another partner of mine. He just does acquisitions like digital marketing, and then he sends me all his leads to do dispositions. So we have a partnership to where I take care of dispositions that way. So I've got leads coming in from another person, and then just other people that may want to work with me. I encourage them, and we kind of go from there. Um,
Incredible.
yeah,
How did you find them? So if somebody's out there and they're like, you know what, I know a lot of cash buyers. I'd love to help people sell their deals as well. What
mhm.
approach would they take? Was it just happenstance? You ran into them. It was just random, and somebody needed your help, or was it something that you go and you're proactive about to try to build those relationships?
So what I was doing at the beginning, I was posting a lot on Facebook Marketplace, like as far as some of my deals, like investor groups. So that's how I met other wholesalers and other investors. We started networking, and that's how I met some of the people that needed help disposition. Because at one time I needed help disposition, and I had other people kind of reaching out to me to help sell some deals. Um, and then I was like, well, you know what? I need to basically, and that's what I said. I need to work on as far as building up my buyers list to where I could help out others. Like I had others help me once. Um, so it's just and recently, Brent, I was looking in the marketplace the other day, Facebook Marketplace, and I saw old fixer up houses someone posted. Then I looked, and it was actually a new person getting started. And I called her. I said, "Hey, what's your phone number?" I said, "I'd like to talk to you about your property you're selling." And, she laid it all out, and I said, well, cool. I said, look, I'm here if you need some help. I said, we could do coffee one day. You could call me. I said, you need help to JV on something? Just let me know. So it's just trying to give a little back to, you just got to be a go-giver sometime, I find that more doors will open up for you in life instead of
I,
just
I
expecting something, up front. Is how can I provide service for someone? How can I help this person?
I love it. I love that you're going around and looking at Facebook Marketplace and reaching out to those other wholesalers or investors and just checking, right? How's it going? Did you get this sold? Is it going fast? Are you having any issues? Do you need any help selling this deal? I'm not going to be the buyer, but I might know the buyer for these properties. I think it's really, really, really smart, especially if it's in smaller markets where not a lot of eyeballs really go to Facebook Marketplace for real estate. It's kind of
Right.
known in the bigger markets, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody can tell me if it's different in some of the major markets, but I know at least in Phoenix here, if it's on Facebook Marketplace, they get bombarded with people reaching out to them. But if you're in a smaller sized market and you see these properties popping up time and time again, that's the people to go be friends with.
That's
That's the
right.
people to go build a connection with, especially if you've got proven buyers that you can help to coordinate and match them up with those good deals. So that's absolutely phenomenal. Well, the time has come, Nick, to break down a deal. I'm going to put you in the hot seat. I want to know every little detail about how you found the deal, what was the situation with the property owner, what'd you lock it up for, and what'd you sell it for so that we know how much you made. So I'll leave it to you. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, so I'll go with the deal deep dive what I was talking about earlier. So basically, cold calling leads just in random areas in a little area called New Iberia, and seller answered the phone. We got to talking to him and everything. I booked an appointment. Looked at the house. It was distressed. Needed a new roof, needed some outside repairs. Put it under contract for 40,000. And I said, okay, well, that seems fair. It should be worth ARV at least. I'm thinking 80, 90.
Where did you get this list?
So I pulled it from Batch Leads.
Batch leads, and what was the
Yeah.
criteria that you pulled?
And so it wasn't an absentee owner, but I want to say it might have been like high equity, to where the house was paid off. So,
House is owned free and clear.
right.
I assume that they had owned it for at least 7 years, maybe 10,
Oh, yeah, exactly. Probably about 20
and it
plus.
was an older property.
Right. Older property. And
Oh, love it.
oh yeah, and so went from there, pulled a list, cold called, spoke to the gentleman, very nice, booked an appointment, ended up locking it up for 40,000. I got a buyer to go look at it, and basically he told me I locked it up too high.
Why did they want to sell the property? What was the motivation for them to sell the property?
Oh, so he was distressed. His house needed a lot of repairs. Roof needed to be replaced. There was a leak underneath the sink, like leaking faucets, damaged wood. Um, just multiple issues, man. Just delayed maintenance on it, to where it just needed a lot of love. And After talking to him and basically, assessing the property, I gave him an offer of 40,000, and he accepted. Put it in the contract, old school way. We did it on paper, no DocuSign, and it, kind of went from there. I started putting it out to my buyers, and I had a couple people look at it, and I remember one gentleman told me in particular. He said, "Man, house is going to need too much work. Man, you need to have it like 25,000." So I made a mistake, locked it up too high. I've done that a few times. You know, and so I went back to the seller and I was like, "Look," I said, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake." I said, "I got it for too much." I said, "We need to be around 25, to be honest." And he said, "That's too low. I'm not going that low. I want to cancel the contract, with all due respect." So we canceled the contract. Next day, he slept on it. He said, "Hey, Nick, I really like you. You're a good guy. I want to sell the house for 25,000." I said, "Okay." Went back, signed the paperwork at the dining room table, got in a contract, and I said, "Look, I'm gonna buy it myself this time, and I bought it, and it was gonna be a property I was gonna hold for a rental, and I ended up fixing it. It came out nice, and I said, well, I think I might just sell it, because I seen the money, I seen the money. So basically, Brent, the number breakdown, locked it up for 25. I got around 60,000 in it. I sold it on the MLS for $107,000. So basically, my check was around, I think it was like around, what is that, like 38,000.
$38,000 from one call. Absolutely
One
incredible. I mean,
call.
you had to put a bunch of effort into it, which I don't
I
necessarily
did.
like, but what a
Right,
deal. I
right.
mean, what an incredible deal. You were able to take it down and you saw the potential. And what was the net?
38,000.
Come on.
Yeah.
I love it. What made him change his mind? I mean, he canceled it, called you up the next day and said, "You know what? Whatever. 25 grand."
It's building a good rapport, Brent. Building a good rapport. If you could get someone to like you, to trust you, want to do business with you, that's all it takes. And that's what he told me. He said, "Honestly, I don't want to sell my house to no one else. I want to sell it to you." He said, "I hope you could make some money on it, do whatever you want." He said, "You're my guy for the house." So just building good rapport.
That's incredible. Give us some advice. How do you build good rapport?
So, I mean, basically, you want people to like and trust you. You want to show them that you're real. And something that I try to back up is say what I'm going to do, right? So if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to charge, Rhino charge, I want to make it happen. So if I tell someone, "Hey, I'm going to sell your house," I'm going to sell your
Yep.
house. Like in some situations, I'll tell people, like, "Look, the best route," and I'll kind of explain the wholesaling route. I'm like, "Look, I can help you in this situation." A lot of times the agents don't want to mess with these type of properties, right? So that's when we come in. I said, my service that I offer is to help out distressed homeowners with properties that need, lots of maintenance. And I said, that's part of my service to get you out of it. I said, you don't want to have to deal with repairs. You don't have to worry about taxes. You don't have to worry about, leaking faucets. And people like it,
Yep.
you know. So you just got to kind of like know when to offer that strategy, and people run with it. They're like, "Okay, find me a buyer. Let's do it. I want to get rid of this property." So you just kind of feeling people out on how they feel about things, and pain points. You can notice pain points with people.
Uh,
Um,
and leading with your heart, leading of being of
Leading with your
service.
heart.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
right.
if you go out there with a servant's heart to help out people in their situations, they will feel it. But if you're just throwing in
Right.
offers and you're not really wanting to communicate and you're not really telling them what to expect next and you're trying to sugarcoat, when something isn't going to work out, which 40K wasn't going to work out at the time, and you had to be at
Right.
25, you were honest with them, and people really respect that.
Right.
And if you don't try
I
to,
was, yeah.
if you don't try to make excuses for it, and you just let them know that you wish you could have done it, but I made a mistake. People
Yeah.
will really respond positively to that, and that's what I think is your superpower, brother. Your superpower is you got a huge heart. You really want to help out. Yes, you want to get great deals, but more importantly, you want to help out people that maybe not that maybe can't help out themselves. And maybe they don't know where to turn.
Right.
And you're there to provide incredible value. And that's what we do as real estate wholesalers. We actively seek out people that are in distressed situations so that we can help them move on from their life and get this stress off of their shoulders, and match them up with people that want to put an investment into these communities, whether it be ourselves or be our cash
Exactly.
buyers. And now the neighborhood's better off for it, that seller's better off for it, and our cash buyers are better off for it. It's a wonderful business. It's absolutely rewarding. So
That's
give
right.
some
So
advice.
like that same seller, right, from this property we're talking about, he called me yesterday. He calls me every once in a while to visit over the phone. He said, Nick, by the way, I have a person that wants to sell a house. I said, great. I said, tell me about it. I said, tell me about it. And he started telling me about it. I said, it sounds like you'll need a little bit of work. He said, yeah, Nick, it's going to need some work. I said, I would love to see it. And I actually went on an appointment today, assessed it and everything. Yep, it's going to need some love. I threw out a number. I threw out 10,000. It is a little low, but I'm open to working with people. I just won't leave it there. I'm going to follow up, or if they're going to call me back, and I may offer a little bit better. If I could see, if I could make the numbers work out.
Awesome.
So it's just, so that was cool, man. I got basically a referral from a guy that I helped out, sold the house, and he's like, man, yeah, if I know other people want to sell, I'm gonna send them your way. I'm like, that's great, you know. And heck, Brent, if I could close on this property, I'm gonna go see the gentleman and give him like a cash offer of like, maybe $500 cash as a referral. I offer people, if you send me a deal that I close on, either wholesale or by myself, well, I'll give you cash money, $500. So just little incentives, man, to go a long way. Instead of people seeing you want to just take or whatever, or just expect something in return.
Give some advice to people starting out.
Starting out, what I recommend, Deal Machine app. Use the TTP code. You're gonna save a clean $10 on it.
Yep.
I got started with my cell phone, man, just grinding, just picking up this cell phone here, man, and just going with it. And skip tracing. What I love about the Deal Machine app, you can just skip trace on. It's not the best data, but dang, when I'm busy, sometimes I'll just skip trace. It is the right number sometimes, so it does work, But just Deal Machine, and the great thing about it, Brent has a really good video about virtually driving with Deal Machine.
Yep.
I actually trained a few people on how to do that. That's huge. That's huge. You could literally just take an area code or city and just tell them certain areas to go in, and you just hovering through the streets, just locking on properties with the Deal Machine app. So I would recommend that 100%. Anyone starting out.
Love it. How can people get a hold of you? How can they reach out? Maybe they're in your market. Maybe they just, they just feel good in their heart about you, and they want to reach out and say congratulations and send
Yeah,
some good
man, they can
karma
hit
your
me.
way. What's the best way to do it?
Right. So I'm on Facebook. They can hit me up on Facebook. Also, my email. They can send me a personal email. It's rather long. It's investinrealestate12@gmail.com. And I'm open to helping anyone out there that needs help.
Awesome.
To get started.
Nick Petrie, thank you so much for being on the podcast, being such an incredible rhino in the rhino tribe, helping out everybody. Really appreciate it. You're incredible. And I want you out of that shift work in the next 60 days.
All right.
Next
All right.
60
I will
days.
try my best, Brent.
I'm going to push you to it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right.
Awesome. So, guys, incredible. A couple tools that he talked about. Deal Machine. Go to dealmachine.com. Use the coupon code TTP, as in talk to people. They give you the biggest discount available, just like Nick mentioned. Also, batchleads.io. Make sure you check that out. Batchleads.io/TTP. Those are two incredible resources. And if you're interested in joining the most proactive community in real estate investing, whether you're trying to get your first deal or grow to a business that runs mostly without you, I encourage you to go to wholesalinginc.com. Check out what it's all about. Check out what the Rhino Tribe is and who is in there. It is absolutely filled with the most incredible wholesalers from around the country. Wholesalinginc.com. Check it out. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. And that's it. As always, I'm going to sign off from this podcast, encouraging you to go out there and talk to people. Till next time. Love you guys. See ya.